MJ, Magic, Bird, all on one team. The 1992 Dream Team has always been outrightly known as the best basketball team ever put together. But over 3 decades later, the U.S. men's basketball team roster for the 2024 Olympics has brought up some questions, and the tournament hasn't even started. Does this team have what it takes to equal the Dream Team, or even outdo them? Stick around to find out. It's common knowledge that the Olympics is a tournament where the world's best athletes in different sports face off against each other. It's also common knowledge that the United States of America is the most renowned nation when it comes to basketball. Putting these two factors together, it's no surprise the U.S. men's team for the Olympics has always featured some of the best players in the world. But the team that represented the U.S. in 1992 weren't just some of the best, they were virtually all the best players from the NBA. The 12-man Dream Team roster was led by 3-time NBA MVP award winners. Michael Jordan, who had also won 2 of his 6 championships, Magic Johnson, who also had 5 rings, and Larry Bird with 3 rings as well. Then there were the likes of MJ's sidekicks Scottie Pippen, future MVP winners Karl Malone and David Robinson, and other all-time greats like Charles Barkley, Patrick Ewing, Clyde Drexler, and John Stockton. The only guys on the roster who didn't make the NBA Hall of Fame were Christian Laettner and Chris Mullin. But the Dream Team wasn't just about their roster and winning the gold medal. It was more about how they won. Throughout the Olympic tournament, these dudes only ever scored less than 110 points once, winning all their games by a minimum of 32 points. Every game they played was a blowout, no matter their opponents. And the best part, everyone on the Dream Team just seemed to be there to have fun, which explains why Charles Barkley ended up being the highest scorer on the team. Get this though, since the Dream Team, Team US has only missed out on the Olympic gold medal once. They are known for always putting up the best players, and because of this, a couple of generations, including the 2012 team of Kobe, LeBron, Chris Paul, and Kevin Durant, have made claims to being just as good or even better than the team of '92. But if you ask us, the only team that could truly make such claims is the team that'd be representing the United States in Paris this year. Sure, MJ, Magic, and Bird were spectacular players, but this 2024 team has a lot of advantages over the Dream Team. First, there's the fact that this team has the highest scorer of all time and the best shooter of all time. LeBron already won the gold medal in 2 of his previous 3 trips to the Olympics, and although this will surprisingly be Steph Curry's first time at the tournament, the team doesn't lack experience in any way. After all, Kevin Durant is 1 gold medal away from becoming the most successful men's basketball player in Olympic history, and Jrue Holiday, Devin Booker, Jason Tatum, and Bam Adebayo were all part of the last edition's gold-winning team. Anthony Davis also won gold at his last Olympic outing in 2012, meaning the only debutantes at the tournament are Tyrese Haliburton, Anthony Edwards, Joel Embiid, and Derek White. If that tells us anything, it's that this 2024 team has even more experience at tournaments than the Dream Team had. When it comes to the topic of flexibility as well, this current team just might have the edge over their 1992 predecessors. The Dream Team was made up of a lot of scorers and a lot of guys who had the same profile and played exactly the same way. Charles Barkley, Karl Malone, David Robinson, and even Patrick Ewing were all monsters in the paint. Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, Scottie Pippen, and John Stockton were all known to be insanely creative players when it came to passing the ball. But perhaps only Clyde Drexler had the skill set to show his face in a 3-point contest. This team heading to Paris, however, are a different bunch, all with the skill and experience to do so much more than just one of defending, shooting, or dribbling. LeBron James, for one, doesn't need much conversation on how versatile he is at his age. Kevin Durant is one of the best shooters of his era, but can hold his own when he has to get his hands dirty. Jason Tatum is known for how efficient his shooting is and his handling when he gets in the paint. But if there's anything the Celtics' playoffs run to the 2024 championship showed, it's that Tatum can do the dirty work as well as needed. The only players who could be suggested to be limited on defense in any way in the current roster are Curry, who is arguably the greatest shooter of all time, and Joel Embiid, who is the big man. This way, it won't be a surprise to see some of the older guys get less minutes than they normally would in NBA games early on in the tournament. Not because they're not going to put up double-doubles, but because what they offer on the floor can be gotten from other younger players. Whether Steve Kerr decides to pick his starting five based on their best individual skill sets, or he decides to have a rotation, these guys will be just fine. A lot of this flexibility has to do with the way the game has evolved in the last 2 decades, and if you ask us, it is a big advantage no matter how you view it. And that brings us to yet another thing this current American 12 team has over the OGs who went to Barcelona all those years ago. There's more at risk for them. Over the years, there have been complaints about players not taking representing Team USA as seriously as they should. Many times, the commitments of these superstar players have been questioned because of how much they step off the tempo when it comes to international tournaments. And this has been going on since as far back as the 90s. Take 1992, for example. The NBA was miles ahead of every other league in the world, and they knew it. We mean players from other teams would legit hang around the arena to get autographs from virtually the whole Dream Team after just being thrashed by over 40 points. And you can't blame them really at the time. Basketball was purely and solely dominated by Americans and Americans only. Today, it's a whole different game. Not only has the game become more famous around other countries in the world, but it's now impossible to mention the top 10 best players in the NBA without at least 3 foreigners. France, who are hosting the tournament, have also just produced the #1 picks in the last 2 NBA drafts. Back then, when only a couple of NBA players could be found representing other countries, the league would be well represented by nearly every country at the Olympics. Canada have the likes of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Jamal Murray, and Dylan Brooks. France have current Rookie of the Year Victor Wembanyama and one of the league's best defensive players, Rudy Gobert. Greece has Giannis Antetokounmpo. Serbia has back-to-back-to-back NBA MVP Nikola Jokic, and the list goes on and on. Now, we don't mean any of these teams are stronger than Team USA. We are just saying there are more superstars in the NBA now from other countries than before. Without a doubt, we'll be seeing the stacked team determined to impress at the Olympics. The Big Three, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, and Steph Curry, who have been the league's best American players for the last decade, the last 2 decades in LeBron's case, will most likely be playing in their last Olympics. If not anything else, the idea of bowing out on a high is sure to push them to play as good as they would if it was the NBA playoff series. At the same time, the younger folks like Jason Tatum, Tyrese Halliburton, and Anthony Edwards are also looking to cement their names as American royalty. This mix of youthful excellence and veteran hunger and experience is something we have to look forward to when the tournament kicks off. Putting all these into consideration, here's our verdict. Hypothetical comparisons have always been fun conversations since they can never actually take place. So yeah, we'll never see the Dream Team of 1992 go up against the 2024 Team USA. Nevertheless, by comparing and contrasting their abilities, style of play, and the general nature of the game today, it's our opinion that this current team would stand a better chance of winning if the 2 teams did face off, especially with today's NBA rules. That aside, it's impossible to expect this team to win by a 30-plus points margin all the way to the gold medal like the 92 team did. The game simply has evolved beyond that, and their opponents are going to give them a run for their money, which is what fans love to see. And we have no doubt that this team will deliver on every cent of hype and hope placed in them by Americans and generally fans of the NBA. Which team do you think would come out on top? And how well do you think the 2024 Olympics basketball team USA will perform? Let us know in the comments section below.